Hi everyone, my name is Akshaj and this is a video where I'm explaining Python sets. Sets are unordered mutable collection of unique elements. They are very different from lists and tuples because they cannot have any order, they do not allow duplicates, you cannot perform indexing in them, but they are also similar to lists because they are mutable. Creating sets is very easy. Sets are enclosed in curly braces. So as you can see, we have created a small set called skills which have some skill sets required, and we have enclosed them in curly braces, so it automatically creates us a good set. In sets, the order is not guaranteed, so sets are unordered. As you can see here, the order may vary because there's no indexing possible. You also have to be it's very important to know that sets do not allow duplicates, so Python removes any duplicate if present while creating a set. If you want to create an empty set, you have to be very careful because you cannot use empty curly braces because those create dictionary, not a set. To create an empty set, you can use the set constructor as shown here. The set constructor also converts other collections. Like if you want to convert a list to a set, you can use the set constructor to do the same. This is also the fastest way to remove duplicates in a list. If you create a set from a list, it removes all the duplicates in the list, and if you convert the set to another list, you have a clean new list as shown here. Because sets are mutable, you can add and remove elements. To add elements, add one element, you can use .add function as shown here, and .update can be used if you want to add multiple elements. To remove elements, you can use .remove, but it gives us a key error if that element is not found. And .discard on the other hand does not give any error if that element is not found. So we consider .discard to be much more safer and practical to use to remove an element rather than .remove. What .pop does is that it removes and returns a random element which is unpredictable. You do not know which one. And what .clear does is that it clears the entire set. But now we'll talk about the most important use of sets. This is where they truly shine for the Venn diagram math in Python. For example, we have two colleagues, Ria and Arjun, who have their respective skill sets. So we created two sets called Ria skills and Arjun skills that have sets of the respective skills. Now we want to check if everything both people know. So we can use the .union function constructor, which tells us about all the skills both of them know, as you can see here. If we want to know skills that both of them have in common, we can use the .intersection format in .intersection constructor as shown here to check if what one set knows and what the other does not. For example, if you want to check what Ria has, the skills Ria has that Arjun does not, you can use the difference constructor as shown here. And to find skills that only one of them know, not both, which only one of them know, you can use a symmetric difference as shown here. Now we'll talk about subset, superset, and disjoint sets. We have four sets called required skills, and another three called Ria skills, Arjun skills, and Dev skills. These three are candidates which have some skills required to get a job. What is subset does is tells us does the set A contain all elements of B. For example, we have to check if does the candidate have all the required skills. So for example, we want to check if Ria qualifies for this job. So we can use a .isSubset constructor to check if the skills or the set of the elements in set of Ria have all these elements required in the required skills set, which is true because Ria has all the required skills, so it gives us true. But Arjun does not, so it returns us false. What .isSuperset does, it tells us does A contain everything in B. So we can check if does Ria cover all the required skill sets, which is also true because she does, but Arjun does not, so it gives us false. And what .isDisjoint does, it tells us does two sets have anything in common. So if you want to check if Ria and required skill sets have the same common elements, which is true, but if in the case of Dev skills, it is not true, so it returns us false because they have no matching skills. Now we'll talk about some real world use cases which you can use sets in Python. For example, if we want to remove all the duplicate entries from a database pool. For example, we have a list called DB emails and we want to remove all the duplicate emails. We can use it by creating the new set from the list and converting the set back to a list as shown here. It removes all the duplicate elements and gives us 4 unique entries given here. We can also check user permission, write a code to check user permission using sets. For example, we have two sets called admin permission and editor permission, and we can use the set functions to check about what extra permission does admin have that the editor does not have, as shown here. These are some of the only small use cases which you can use. There are many more use cases of sets which you can do and perform in Python. So that is all for the video, and thank you for watching.